Hey everyone, Backpack Hack here coming at you with another trail tip. I have taken interest recently of the cultures in the world that wear their wealth. In other words, they have something on their person, EDC, that is a value that is independent of their local fiat currency system. This usually is in the form of gold jewelry, either a chain or a ring, something similar to that. And I began to wonder if there was a way I could adopt that ethos for myself. The biggest problem I have is I don't wear jewelry. I've never had the habit. I've got jewelry, I wear it on special occasions, but ordinarily, I don't wear jewelry. You'll never see me wear anything in my videos. I don't even wear anything to work because it's an occupational hazard. And even if I did get something to wear, I'd tear it up at work. So I began to search to find something that I could do similar to that, to carry wealth with me all the time, EDC. I first Googled the idea, just Googled EDC Gold, and I really only found one, I think it was a Reddit post, that something about a guy was taking 1 gram bars and taking electrical tape and taping them to the inside of his wallet. And I thought, well, electrical tape after so much time is going to get gooey and sticky and just be a mess. So I was trying to figure out some other way that I could carry something of value on my person besides that. My first decision was, how much fiat value would I be willing to carry with me, and in what form? So I got to thinking about it, and I decided just arbitrarily $1,000 US. Has no meaning, there was nothing behind it, it was just an arbitrary choice just to give myself a goal. So I started to look at my options. Precious metals seemed to be the obvious choice because a lot of these cultures wear gold, but I thought, is there something else that I could look at before I defaulted to gold? Things like platinum, palladium, and rhodium, I think they're so rare that most people wouldn't even understand what they are. In fact, some people might think, palladium, isn't he the character played by Richard Boone in the old TV Western show Have Gun Will Travel? Kids, ask your grandparents. So those were out. My next thought was, since I do stack silver, how about silver? However, at today's spot price of filming this video, it would take 27 ounces of silver to get to my $1,000. That's quite a bit of silver to carry on my person every day. This isn't going to work. So this basically defaulted me back to the accepted standard gold. However, like I stated, gold jewelry is just not going to work for me, and besides, usually gold jewelry is not pure gold. At this morning's spot price of gold, as the time of making this video is $3,323 and change, an ounce of gold is way over my goal. Even a ½ ounce of gold is $1,660. That's doable, but still, it's well above my goal. What about a ¼ ounce? $831, I think. Yeah, that might work, close to my goal, but as with even the larger pieces of gold, divisibility becomes an issue. I don't want to just carry this as a unit of wealth to have on my person. I want to be able to use it for barter if I need to, so I needed something smaller. So what about 3 1/10 ounce gold coins? Well, that certainly puts me right at my $1,000 goal, but again, divisibility is still an issue. These are $330 some each in just spot price. What happens if I want to purchase something for $100 or less? Paying for it with a $333 bill? That's leaving a lot of value on the table. I needed something even less. Even a gram of gold is still north of $100. So I got to thinking, am I thinking about this backwards? Instead of working with weight and converting to dollars, why not convert dollars into weight? So I got to thinking, what size of gold would I want to have if I was going to use it for barter? And I decided somewhere between $25 and $50. Again, just random arbitrary numbers. Between $25 and $50 is $37.50. If I divide the price of gold by $37.50, or the other way around, I come up with 0.01186, I believe, which you just well round off to 100th ounce of gold. Is there such a thing as a 100th ounce of gold? Yes, there is. The first thing that came up is the gold back. This is actually a note that's made with a polymer coating, and it's got a 100th ounce of gold built into them. Two problems with them. They're insanely large. It's about the size of a dollar bill. Plus, they're insanely expensive. This is basically twice the price of gold. When I bought this, the price of gold was just shy of $3,400. This was $68. So this is insanely expensive for a 100th ounce of gold. So I started to dig a little further. Came across a few oddballs, but then I came across this. This is the Scottsdale Mint 100th ounce gold bar. For those of you who don't stack or not familiar with stacking in gold, Scottsdale Mint is a very well-known, very reputable private mint. They don't make currency, they simply make bullion. Gold, silver, and a lot of the other metals too. They make what they call a 100th ounce bar. I have a hard time calling it a bar. It's more like a wafer or a chip, but I was instantly intrigued by these because I thought they were the perfect solution for what I was looking for. These things are small and flat, which lends them to a lot of options. I could just drop them in my wallet, but I thought they're just going to get beat up. They are very thin, they're very easy to bend. So I needed some way to protect them. My first thought was put them in a little Ziploc baggie and put them in my wallet. No, that'd probably still get them bent up. I thought, what about vacuum sealing them? They'd still be loose in that vacuum seal bag, and I was concerned about them rubbing around on each other and getting all scratched up. Then I had an epiphany. Why not laminate them? I have a laminator. So I purchased a couple, and when I got them, I started an experiment. The first thing I did was I took a small piece of paper the same size as one of those bars, ran it through my laminator, and then cut it out. And amazingly, if I cut out very carefully around 3 sides of that piece of paper, it opened up like a book and I was able to pull out that piece of paper. And I thought, you know, maybe the adhesive on this heat activated laminate isn't all that strong. Doesn't need to be. There's nothing trying to pull them apart. So I thought, if something as porous and fibrous as paper doesn't stick to that adhesive, something as dense as gold certainly isn't going to either. So I took one of the bars, ran it through my laminator, and again was able to easily cut it out of the laminate sheet, perfect condition. Now that I have the form of wealth that I want to carry and a way to protect it and keep it safe, it's time to start getting them and run them through the laminator. What I did is lay them out in a 2x4 grid pattern, run them through the laminator, and then cut them down to fit into my EDC kit. Now, you can carry this in your wallet or your purse just as easy, but in my EDC kit, there's a lot of other stuff in there that's going to keep them safe. They fit right in my EDC kit, and I've carried them for quite a while with absolutely no problem. I currently have 24 of these little gold bars, 8 to a sheet in 3 sheets. So I'm 3/4 of the way on my way to my goal. Once I get another 8, I'll have another sheet, and I will be right at my $1,000 goal. So if you're still with me at this point in the video, you're probably wondering, all right, what do these things really cost? What's the premium? Well, the spot price this morning was $3,323 and change. They're on the Scottsdale Mint website for $44.29. If you do the math, that's about a 33% premium. Pretty stiff, but you got to remember, these are hyperfractional gold pieces. I'm lucky enough, however, to have a bullion dealer that gets them on a regular basis. They don't order them. They either come in with a shipment or somebody comes in to sell them, and I can pick them up for about $38. That's less than 15% premium. That's a very manageable price for the premium. I'm not going to make a habit of just stacking these all the time. Once I get my other 8, I'll be done with them. Then I'm going to have my $1,000 of value that I can carry with me all the time, every day. So that's where I'm at on my EDC Gold journey. I just need 8 more, and I'll have my $1,000 in what I consider the perfect form and the perfect way to carry. This is Backpack Hack coming at you with this trail tip. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be safe out there, and I'll see you out on the trail.